George Russell and Kimi Antonelli have been called the worst things you could possibly call an F1 driver. I'm talking nicknames so unhinged that I'm probably on 3 different watch lists just for saying them out loud. Osama bin Russell, Talib Antonelli, and the team Al Mercedes. Now before you click off thinking I've lost my goddamn mind, let me tell you how Mercedes F1, the team that dominated 8 consecutive championships, somehow managed to hire what the internet genuinely believes is a terrorist cell on wheels.
Want to be a pilot when you grow up? Shame.
In 2025, Mercedes is going through a midlife crisis. Lewis Hamilton left for Ferrari, and Mercedes decided to replace him with an 18-year-old who crashed within 10 minutes of his first F1 practice session. But this isn't just about one rookie. This is about how George Russell and Kimi Antonelli formed the most destructive duo in F1 history. Let me take you through how Mercedes accidentally created a buddy cop movie. Except instead of fighting crime, they're committing vehicular manslaughter on track. Let's start with Osama bin Russell. George is currently P4 in the championship with 276 points, 2 wins, and 8 podiums. On paper, he's having a solid season, but the internet doesn't care about your championship position when you've spent 3 years taking out more drivers than a nightclub bouncer. The nickname started in 2023 when an internet nerd photoshopped bin Laden's face onto George, and it stuck because George has a specific talent: running in a podium position and still finding a way to meet a wall at 200 miles per hour. Singapore 2023, George is running P3 on the final lap. All he has to do is not crash. And what does he do? Bins it into turn 10, loses the podium, becomes a meme forever. And this isn't just a one-time thing. At Imola 2021, he crashes into Valtteri Bottas, then walks over and slaps his helmet like Bottas was the problem. In 2022 alone, George took out Sergio Perez twice and sent Carlos Sainz packing. Every single time, George blamed everyone but himself. The FIA literally had to implement safety changes at Australia because of his crash. When the governing body has to change track layouts because of your personal crash history, that's not racing. That's property damage. And the rookie, Kimi Antonelli, the student of George. Mercedes hyped him as the next Verstappen. Toto Wolff called him Verstappen-level talent.
Toto saying something.
Kimi, fuck Verstappen, no!
Oh my god, that fuck Kimi!
This fucking bitch, for fuck's sake, I can't get a break.
So what happened in his first F1 session? Well, if you are learning from the best, then you are bound to become the worst. At 2024 Italian Grand Prix, his home race, all of Italy was watching. 10 minutes into FP1, Kimi bins it into the barriers with a 52G impact. Fighter jet pilots experience 9 Gs. Kimi said fuck it and went for 52. And the Italian media was ready to crown him the next Schumacher. Instead, they got the next Mazepin. But in early 2025, Kimi actually started strong. He made his debut in Australia, scored points in his first 3 races, and became the youngest driver in F1 history to lead a lap and set a fastest lap in Japan. People thought, okay, this kid's actually legit. But here's what makes this absolutely insane. After Brazil, George has 276 points, sitting P4. And Kimi, he just got his 2nd career podium, a P2 in Brazil, and he's sitting P7 in the championship, only 26 points behind Lewis Hamilton. But the gap between the 2 Mercedes drivers is still massive, and the way they've gotten there is what spawned the memes. The F1 community saw these 2 and said, you know what? They're perfect for each other. Osama bin Russell, the veteran, training his apprentice Talib Antonelli. People started calling Mercedes Al Mercedes. Toto Wolff became Al Wolff. The entire team got rebranded as a terrorist organization. But here's where it gets interesting. In Brazil, just this past weekend, both of them actually cooked. Norris actually won the sprint, but Kimi finishes P2 and George P3. And Kimi even admitted after the race that his relationship with George is definitely changing. The mentor-student dynamic is evolving into an actual rivalry, and George is is not happy about getting beaten by the rookie. Now, I know these names are problematic as hell. Using terrorist names for humor about crashes is crossing a line, but the F1 community saw a pattern. Kimi taking out Verstappen, Leclerc causing chaos, and George with his history of Singapore, Australia, and taking out half the grid in 2022.
But the irony is that Mercedes is going through a tough transition.
The car has had development issues all season, which hurts a rookie like Kimi more than it hurts experienced George, because when Kimi gets it right, he's genuinely fast, reaching P2 in both sprint and Grand Prix, holding off Verstappen. That's not luck, that's talent. And George has 2 wins this season, Canada and Singapore, plus 8 podiums total, 0 DNFs. The guy is consistent when he's not meeting walls. But the TV Tropes page for Formula One drivers now officially includes Osama bin Russell. It's made it into internet documentation, and Toto Wolff looks like he's aged 10 years in 1 season. The legend is cemented, the lore is written, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.